Welcome, everybody, to PopHeadz Podcast Episode 4 with your host, Eric, aka Ghostwriter. In today's episode, we have an interview with Jacheng, the dev for PopHeadz, and we talk about his background, his love of games and technology, and how that led him to dive into cryptography and NFTs. I think the most fascinating thing I learned about Jacheng in this conversation was that he had a crypto wallet before he had a credit card, um, as well as the fact that he was able to buy a Beeple for $1. Lucky dude. Finally, we also talk a little bit about some of the recent Solana innovations, as well as what Jacheng would like to see come out of the PopHeadz project. We hope you enjoy today's interview with Jacheng. Hi, everyone. This is a quick conversation with Jacheng, one of the PopHeadz core team members. This interview is intended to give some background and a deeper look into who Jacheng is. So Jacheng, could you first give a quick introduction about who you are and your background?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Eric. My name is Jacheng, and that's my actual name. My background is I'm just graduated from university. I studied it's called Pacific and Asian Study with Slavic and Germanic. So I did a double major. Um, yeah, I'm 24 this year, and yeah, that's pretty much my personal background. Yeah.
So the funny thing is, right? You study linguistics, so you're the dev on the team, and
Yeah.
technically you architect for Wind Metaverse, a different project that I'll get into. But what made you take linguistics in college?
Yeah. It's kind of a funny story that I was originally from China, and I was born and raised there up until maybe I'm 14, 13 years old. When I was one of those kids that, people call airdrop to like the US to like study. So I was airdropped to like pretty random Minnesota, shout out to Minnesota. And then later on, I moved to Canada to continue my study. Um, so if you ask me, how did I come about from like my bachelor degree or something completely, irrelevant to like Web3 or like blockchain cryptography, it's just so for me, if I'm being honest, a big part of the reason why I go to university is to like kind of prove a point, and also to like just because family pressure. I never really that into go to school because I was not that fit into, but I figured just might as well do something I'm interested and spend most of my time finding my true passion, because I know it's not going to be inside the academic realm, because I oftentimes have my own skepticism towards to it, and I always interested in game and also playing game, designing games. So I'm not sure if Eric, you know this game called Age of Empires 2. So
I do an RTS. I used to
yeah,
play it a
yeah,
lot, but I couldn't win, and I had to play.
okay, yeah, I love that game ever since I was a kid, and it's kind of like a repetitive theme of my life. I love playing video games and love, I grew up with computers, so I'm always fascinated towards it, and I always interested in creating my own games. Like, so AOE 2 have a inside the game you have a map editor, pretty
Mhm.
powerful. You can script scenario and stuff. I guess that's kind of like where when I was like 10, 11, first get into like coding almost, because you have to set up logic. And then I was more into this game called Mountain Blade. So it's Turkish studio, small
Mm-mm.
studio. They
Yeah.
also have a powerful map editor. And I always draw into the idea of using tools, creating rules and boundaries and system that works. But and then I was really interested in the cryptography, because I accidentally read when I was like around 19, which is maybe 3 years ago. I was reading on ERC 721. So he's talk about how how this verification of a token can prove you own something without third party. So that was really powerful to me. So funny story, I actually got a wallet before I got a credit card because I was not able to get one. Yeah, so I would just got a MetaMask back then, and yeah, I just dive into it. And but always, I guess right now they have a term fitting to my kind of role, which is I was pretty much a researcher or searcher, uh, looking into like the abstraction of these things, and then yeah, it's a rabbit hole. I think you probably share some similar kind of experience, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That's sorry. That's really kind of an interesting background. It seems like you followed your passion, video games and customizing, doing map editing, learning code, and then getting into cryptography, learning about NFTs, ERC 721. A quick question: How did you end up getting ETH, uh, ETH into MetaMask if you couldn't even get a credit card?
Let me think. So there is one thing in Canada called Shakespeare, which allows you to buy Bitcoin and Ethereum through debit card. And I did that, and then I offloaded my Ethereum from, I guess now we call it central exchange, to MetaMask, and then I just go from there.
Mm. What do you remember? What your first NFT you bought was?
Oh wow. That's kind of interesting because I kind of got into NFT pre OpenSea days.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think my first NFT,
Pre OpenSea, there were a couple. Axie was in alpha.
yeah, yeah,
CryptoKitties.
yeah, I had that. You know, I I actually first got into fungible, not non-fungible. I was fascinated by the standard, but there were no there were an exchange called actually it's still around associated with Gemini called Nifty Gateway. I'm not sure if you
Mm-mm-mm.
know,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's gas free because it's centralized. And I first I think got a bunch of ones that's just not very mesmerized by artists, but I start kind of collecting. I guess I start collecting quite early. Um, but yeah, I think the most mesmerizing piece I got from it is I actually entered a draw with $1, and I won the Beeple for
Mm.
$1. Yeah, that's and everything
I
else is
remember.
kind of blurred. Other than that, sorry, I haven't even checked. I still have some artist piece on there. Yeah,
I remember people released that piece
yeah,
that was like $1. It was like
yes, yes.
several. I think was it like 100 pieces?
Just 100. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's crazy that you still have that one.
I still have it. Yes,
Okay, cool. Just shifting over. So you were looking at it kind of from a researcher perspective. What
yes.
made you make the move from kind of what you were doing on Ethereum and then coming into Solana?
Yeah, I was studying Solidity, but then there were a lot of tutorial offered by Chainlink because I'm always interested in Chainlink have this I forgot the exact term for it, something to generate a random number, and you can
Oh, the
use
the Oracle?
yeah, it's like a function of the Oracle, the generate a random
Yeah, yeah,
number,
yeah.
then you can use to verify certain events, or kind of like having data on top of it, kind of like
Mm-hmm.
that kind of idea. But then I realized Solidity was like very different from the other languages, if that makes sense. And also Ethereum, just the structure of Ethereum, like how it's structured, it's very single point failure. I feel like like the idea of once the contract's deployed, it's uh, never fixable. Technically,
Yeah,
you could.
without using without
Yeah,
fronting the contract to another contract, right?
yeah,
Or you
yeah.
switch it.
So that idea kind of bugged me. And that makes me feel like it's a little bit like drawback. Then and also Solidity just have like a lot of technical hurdles, and I didn't feel quite comfortable to spend that much time on. Like I don't feel necessary, in other words. So then I look into Solana. A friends recommended me to download Phantom, then I did. Yeah, then I was just looking through their docs. I realized, oh, it's the idea of a program and the idea of Solana having this architecture designing to be more feel like you could implement more versatile, more powerful decentralized application. That was very early. That was Solana bit when beta was announced. I'm sorry, published, and I just started using it. It was very fast and very affordable, and I feel like it could really be something that, because I always think blockchain can be adopted by the mass, and I realized, oh, Solana actually it's a legitimate contender because it's thinking the architecture when they design it, it's thinking about how to be more applicable in real world scenario, instead of just all these cryptography abstractions. And so that's how I guess it was very smooth, because I'm a student. I was a student, and I didn't have strong ideology. It was for me purely just pragmatic kind of idea, and I just spent a lot of time to understand Solana. Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely have the same sentiment about that. I was learning Solidity as well, and back in the day, essentially to upgrade a contract, you had to make sure that your contract was calling another contract's functions, and then to upgrade the contract, you essentially had to deploy a new contract, and then have the other contract change the address to point to the other one. Um, yeah, it was a little annoying. But yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I agree with you. I think a lot of the newer chains obviously got to learn a lot from Ethereum and its architecture, and then take primitives that were more pragmatic. But hopefully,
Yeah, yeah.
ETH. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying what you said. I definitely agree. I think a lot of people are jumping from ETH to other chain for many reasons, and I definitely don't. I think ETH set the bar for a lot of
Hmm.
value we uphold in Web3 or in the space, but whether it's something that it's good or bad, it's still time will judge, right? We
Yeah,
still have to see. It's still so early.
yeah. I'm definitely interested in seeing ETH as it transitions to proof of stake, and see how that goes. That upgrade goes. But yeah, I want to kind of shift gears and tell a funny story about how I first got into contact with you, Jacheng.
Sure.
Let's rewind back to podcast
Yeah.
episode 1. I gave an overview of how the team got together for the kitchen.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
in the timeline of that story, so Daniel was invited to join the kitchen, and he was working on the first 4 original PopHeads. And during that time, there was this eccentric dude that showed up with the username bread.soul. And he first was researching into form function, which led him to buy a bunch of microverse elves. And then he showed up in the kitchen and started hanging out. I want to tell the story about how you came into the kitchen, and then
Yeah.
I guess you saw Daniel's pieces, right? PopHead, that
Yes.
first
Yes.
auction,
Actually, it
and
was Joy's piece first, but when I
Mhm.
was trying to buy, so I was a bit slow, and I think is the Ladao was able to. Yeah, Ladao acquired Joy's piece. Yes.
yeah, and so Daniel released his 4 original PopHeads.
Mm.
Can you tell me? So So you ended up winning one, right? You ended up
Yeah.
winning Tiger.
Yes.
But it was actually at the time, it was kind of, you went pretty hard on it. Do you want to
Yes.
talk about
Sure. Yeah.
why you bought Tiger?
I guess it's a little bit of my personal, almost uh, fascination over the idea of it's the year of the tiger. And in China, people say when it's your, because I was born the year of tiger, so does Daniel. I later find
Mm-hmm.
out. You are supposed to be not very lucky when it's the year of, you're supposed to, they call it like 状态岁or something like that. So you're supposed to be lay low and don't do anything crazy, just, relax, chill. But, connecting to wind, I guess, I, when I was in Solana, I guess was, starts research in January, and time comes about June, they have this hackathon called Reptile, I think. And then I joined Reptile. Then I realized I could make something special. Uh, and, but it was very, very daunting and like, process. Learned a lot, but also like, it was just a lot of frustration and everything. And so what happened is so actually the story goes like this. So back in last year August, me and my team, we made a very cool system, which I think still today, it's still very cool. Not that many people know, but we made this system that people can log in through their NFT in August on Solana. To the Unreal any game powered by Unreal Engine. So basically, we made this token gated system for your so-called metaverse, right? This is actually pre Mark Zuckerberg move changing Facebook to Meta as well. So it's a little, now everything seems so like blend and like crazy. It's just all narrative now. But back then it was a bit more simplistic. It's so weird that after that, and then metaverse suddenly blew out of nowhere. I mean, we didn't blew out because we were just a bunch of technical people and enthusiasts, engineer who want to build something cool for this hackathon. So yes, we built this thing out, but I was actually contacted by Solana Venture and also some very interesting VCs. But we kind of turned them all down because of various reasons. One of the biggest that we don't have a tokenomics designed because I have some beliefs that I was strongly held throughout the first part of the, I guess you call it, this cycle, which has ended already in my opinion, which is I don't believe in tokenomics. I don't believe in I actually quite breaking ground, I guess. In my first half I didn't believe in PFPs because I saw the rise of Bake, Bored Ape Yacht Club, and for me they all just fork. They just CryptoPunk wannabe. I didn't understand the idea of brand. Didn't understand the idea of community. I think that's the two biggest takeaway from me. I didn't care about any of these two, brand or community, up until like this year. I had a realization. I see the project spawning from the same period of my time and doing really well. I realized, I think I got it wrong. It's not about the tech. It's not about the cryptography on some level. It's actually about the community and brand and the power of idea. So I'm on the verge of giving up because we actually did code out an escrow project for our own project Wind. So the idea is people swapping or their PFPs or NFTs on our own. Because my idea is every DAO, every project should have their own store, right? Because that's a decentralization. But then of course, we all know now, July, Match Eden have probably 95% of the volume. And back in around maybe, it's February or March, right? I I think that's when the Dan's auction, isn't it? Is it
Yep,
March?
yep.
Yeah, it was
It was
quite
like
early.
early this year. Yeah,
Yeah,
early
so
this year.
I was on the verge of just like giving up because I was like, okay, people have no taste. People just this space is filled by like not good looking art and just like because I guess I suffer from my lucky. I started with Beeple, right, and then I had my
Yeah,
own project,
it's hard to
so
top
it's
that.
hard to top that. Yeah, so once I get into the Solana, I try to bring something special to the space. I realized people look away. So yeah, I'm on the verge of giving up. Then I realized, oh, there is a quite vibrant and good community out there. It's form function, and there's good art pumping out, and there's genuine artists coming to the space. Then I actually introduced to exchange art and whatnot. But I was not. I didn't like their UI. Sorry, but yeah. So I look at form function, and I understand it's kind of quirky, but their betting just designed so well. The every time the fund return to your wallet, if you bet got outbetted instantly, I think wow, that's the kind of experience that can I think top Web 2. So I was then I saw PopHeadz
Real
and
quick, I wanna give some context for people who've never done one of one auctions. So the original, I guess, place that people used to do one of one art auctions was Olaplex, and they used the Metaplex standard. When you do an auction there, when you bid on a piece, you don't actually get the money back when somebody outbids you. You have to sign a
claim it,
transaction to
right?
claim it back, or
Yeah,
you can outbid again, right?
yeah,
Um, yeah, the
yeah.
better UX is to
The better
get the money
UX
back.
and architect is definitely something changed my mind. I would say just because OpenSea was a mess as well. That's why I didn't use OpenSea. Yeah, I guess I just have this weird concept in my mind how things should be done, and form function kind of fall through that uh, place. So yeah, so I was looking and then I saw the announcement of PopHeadz and I started using Twitter. I just started using Twitter. Then I realized there's a lot of people here. Then this is where I never even try to make friends prior to that because I most of the time just suffer in my misery trying to understand Solana's code. The only place I go to it's Solana's own Discord ask question about technical stuff. Yeah, so yeah, and then I saw the tiger heads, and I look back for my year. I guess just my last I don't know stubbornness that I wanna make this my year, right? So yeah, so I just like I have to get it, even though somebody's betting there who's I guess a friend of a friend, and
Yeah,
yeah,
I think we could talk about that. The person you were in a bidding war against was actually Joyce's boss,
yes, Kelly, R. Kelly,
Chris Kelly.
Chris Kelly. Sorry, not R. Kelly. Sorry,
Not Kelly
sorry,
at all.
no R. Kelly, Chris Kelly. Yeah, thank you, Chris, for letting me win the tiger. Yeah.
I mean, he fought pretty hard.
Yeah, yeah. We both wanted it hard, and I think he's a gentleman, so he let me have it. So thank you.
The funny thing is, right? So sometimes in the kitchen at the end of auctions or near the end of auctions, we will hang out in VC in Discord, just to watch the end of the auction. And you actually came in at the end of the auction, and me and Day was Daniel there. Daniel was there.
Daniel was there, yeah, and
Yeah, yeah,
Lawrence. Shout out
yeah.
to Lawrence, another great artist
And we
from the
were just
kitchen.
we were just like, I mean, we were watching this bidding war, and we just
Yeah.
kept memeing. We just kept memeing that that a college student was outbidding Hollywood Chris Kelly.
Yeah. I mean, it is. I guess that's the magic of this space, right? If I didn't really try to win the tiger that hard, then I don't think. I mean, maybe I'll win the later piece, but I'm not sure. Like if PopHeadz would be I would have that much influence to shape PopHeadz, like into something that I had in my mind. So I think it's all worth it at the end. Just for the art itself, I think it's great. It's a masterpiece because I think I see the historical significance of great looking, clean, and like top notch, modern, contemporary profile picture collection brand on Solana. When I saw PopHeadz, that's something instantly come to my mind. I think a lot of people can, including Eric, can resonate, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that's what I had in my mind, and everything else is history.
Yeah, no, everything else is history. You so I guess shifting gears again. You were talking about your work in wind, and I know the people who know you obviously know you. You also work on a different project called Wind Metaverse. But for the people in PopHeadz who only know you as the dev, do you want to talk a little bit about the work you're doing in Wind?
Sure. Yeah. So Win just started off. We create a system called Entrance for the hackathon, which allows you to set up your password through through your NFT, verifying you have your NFT, and then with that password, you can log into a game, which we called Win Metaverse at the time. We made a map and made a game, and actually it's online player, multiplayer as well. So you log into it and you will be able to see your avatar, which is your NFT, and you'll be able to. We also have GPT-3 in there. We want to explore the idea of free will and the relationship between free will, I guess digital immortality, and and blockchain. We're trying to combine them. So the idea is you'll be able to chat with your avatar, which we set a prompt through GPT-3. The system and everything's done and it's been played through, but right now we shut down the server because it's we just right now basically we're thinking about what's next for the wind.
Cool. Is there anything you are excited about in the Solana ecosystem in space right now?
I think tons of things. I am really excited for PopHeadz. Honestly, I think it's most hype thing for this next quarter.
I am gonna be a PopHeadz maxi.
Yeah, not just honestly just a neutral perspective. I honestly think PopHeadz deserve so much more love. Daniel, Joyce, and our
Tony
animator Tony works so hard, and with a combination of tech, cryptography, I'm so excited. But besides that, I think I'm pretty pumped about Solana's new SDK of Solana Mobile. I already ordered mine.
You ordered the phone, right?
I ordered
the phone is what we're talking about.
Yes, Solana Saga, for testing purpose, of course. I think I'm excited because I always see on the project Win, because it's kind of a protocol project. We also create a game on mobile called Ego. So I always, actually when I was on the hackathon, we were shortlisted with now everybody knows Steppen in Solana Asia, the Hackathon Asia branch. So we were on the same stage. And I remember back then their founder was chatting, the Aussie man was chatting on the stage about how Steppen's gonna do all this through a mobile app. I was not convinced, to be honest, because I just don't see how they can ship so quickly. But then they delivered. They made a really good app and great experience, and really break Solana. I think Solana major breakthrough. Even it was not reflected on the price point, but
I mean, it was for a little bit of time. I think it did
uh,
reflect the price
yeah,
change.
sadly, not much. But Steppen did really well, and I think with SDK, Solana mobile SDK, and also like they call it seed vault or something like that. Basically, just like in hardware level integration with cryptography. There's just so much I can see happen, and a different
Can
kind
you
of Web3 experience.
can you talk a little bit about those implications? Because actually,
Yeah,
I know most of the people have seen that Solana phone. I don't think they've like
very excited.
looked
Yeah,
into it
no, I know.
as
It's
much as you have.
I mean, I have not actually looked into that much because I'm kind of taking a break recently because it's been kind of crazy with everything. So I'm scared once I look in the dark, I would just like suck into it. But basically, the biggest implication I think is we no longer need to sign every transaction, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be a native integration, which means you could log into your game, let's just say step in the future, right? And then you wanna maybe something. Let's not use Steppen. Let's use something else. Maybe it's a let's say something like Pokemon Go,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
want to sell it, and you could use your face or bio identity to log into your wallet, and without realizing you're logged into your wallet to sell something, if that makes sense. So we'll be just like right now we Web2 experience, right? You scan your face to download something on the Apple Store, and you will be similar experience like that. And imagine that with all the things that cryptography and Web3 can offer.
So how does that actually work? Is that mean the private key is on the phone itself?
So they have something called seed vault, which is something on the phone to manage all your, if I understand correctly, manage all your like key pairs,
Mm-hmm.
and that's tied to the phone. Yes,
So if
and
the thing is, it's similar to Ledger then, right? It acts as kind of
yes,
the
just
hardware wallet.
yes. Imagine your ledger, but a smartphone.
What happens if you lose the phone? I'm assuming you during setup of the phone. I mean, we don't have the phone
Yeah,
ourselves yet.
I
You're
think
gonna
their
write
dev
down the.
answer the question in their Twitter space, Solana
Mhm.
podcast folks. But in my understanding is you could have a copy of it, and also there's another layer of imagine you lost your iPhone, and there's a I lost my phone kind of application, right? And
Mhm.
I imagine a similar setup like that, but
Okay.
encrypted natively with cryptographies. So
Gotcha.
it's
Gotcha.
quite game changing, I think. Uh,
Yeah, it will definitely be an interesting thing to
yeah,
see because
uh,
obviously it's definitely an improvement in UX. But we'll see
yes.
we'll see if people are open
Yeah, I
to
think
actually
will
buying the phone.
be kind of similar to Metaplex. How Metaplex developed like a NFT on Solana and have a lot of cool ideas at inception, and also very good architecture to be developed on top of and also expand upon. Um, I think I think Solana Saga and also the SDK and with a mobile approach offering similar thing. Right now it's very like just abstraction ideas and like
Hmm.
theory, but I think in practice it will be wonderful. But we just have to wait and see. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I know one other thing you've kind of been looking into is XNFT. Do you want to
Yes.
talk a little bit about that?
I try to get a lot. I try to get my a lot. I try to get get my heads into it. Get as much information maybe as I can. But unluckily, not very lucky. I know that what's going on is Anchor, which is a package a lot of people use on when they're doing Solana developing. The lead developer Armani, I think they are having a new company called Cora, which is gonna develop OS, Cora operating system.
Coral OS, right?
Yes, and from my understanding, it's an operating system, and XNFT, it's a new, putting plain English, it's just another NFT standard, which is X stand for executable on their, that's what they say on their website. So each NFT, XNFT representing an app. And
so essentially the NFT, instead of being a JPEG, is executable code.
Yes, but there's I mean, even the JPEGs, it's a code as well, but just not executable, not interactive.
That's true. That is true.
But I mean, it is interactable, but you just need to build something on top of it, basically like a wrapper to build. Basically, what we did when we do the AI system, they read the metadata and then they spawn the conversation. But I think for XNFT, apparently it's executable, which is super innovating and exciting. But I did talk to some of the smartest people I know, and they were having some concern over, I talked to one of the senior engineer at Holoplex. He said he don't know the technical specifics, but he just he used, I'm just going to quote him. He said, user supply code that's not escaping their sandbox. My understanding is, how do you, when you're on the app, right? Let's say you play a game, you're operating it, you're doing stuff, and that will generate code, that will generate something on the memory. How do you make sure that only stay in the XNFT? Or how do you even manage that as an NFT? I mean, right now it's pretty mind-boggling because nobody knows Solana as well as probably Armani is his team. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Yeah.
From my understanding, they're also making something they're calling Backpack, which is, I mean, it's supposed to be a wallet, but it's supposed to hold these executable.
Yeah. So Backpack is apparently, I guess I'm not. So it's Core Backpack, I think. I think it's Coral, and they're gonna have a they're gonna have let me take a look.
I mean, it's supposed to be like a app store, right? Like essentially, like you like the apps like Magic Eden will sit right next to your actual NFT, for example.
Yes, I guess Backpack is probably something on top of like you said, managing the dApps, the XNFTs. Yeah.
My only concern is do you know those Christmas tokens?
Yes, I got loads of them.
My only concern is XNFT is hackers are gonna just write wallet drainers and just send it to everybody,
and then they just execute it. Yeah, I mean, with new tech, there's always new challenge.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we should just stay where it's safe, because Yeah, I honestly like what they're doing. It took in this endeavor that nobody thinks it's a good idea. Even the NFT was not a good idea on Solana. Nobody see it. I remember when the Metaplex just came out, nobody, it took a while to generate some steam, even though it's so usable, so nice compared to Ethereum.
It took the botched mint of Degenerate Ape Academy to wrap around these standards.
So it comes quite quickly, isn't it? Like, it's only being, I don't know, right now I guess it's been about a year now. Yeah, about a year, less than a year. So right now things seems to slow down a bit, with the market and everything. But yeah, I definitely think um, the innovation is going to be something that drives Solana as the ecosystem going forward.
For sure. I think we're. I mean, Solana in general is innovating on many different fronts.
Definitely, yeah. We don't have that baggage of like the Ethereum have that connotation of like store of value versus currency. We don't have the baggage of like proof of stake versus proof of work. We
Mm-mm-mm.
don't have the baggage of like legacy prehistorical project, and we don't have the legacy of like crazy DeFi rocks and stuff. Not as much
I
as
mean, we
Ethereum.
do,
We have our
but like,
share.
yeah, not like
Yeah.
a not like a complete fork of
Yeah.
Ethereum Classic.
Need to do. Yeah. So I definitely can see Solana move a lot faster, which is very exciting.
Hmm. Okay. So yeah, I mean, just rounding out, kind of our conversation. Last question to you. What do you most want to see come out of the PopHeads project?
I want to see PopHeads as this cultural phenomenon, and I think we have the power to do so. We are in the position. I think with Eric and our team, we definitely want to position ourselves into in a positive force in the space, at all fronts, right? We want to innovating natively with crypto, but we're also looking outward. We want to how to reach more people. How can we um, make cryptography mass adopted and make whole ecospace more flourishing, bring more liquid in to Solana. Yeah, I think all that leads to a cultural force, and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, that is it for me for questions. Thank you very much for joining me for this interview. I I think our listeners are definitely going to enjoy this conversation.
oh, thank you so much for having me, Ghost. It's a pleasure.
And that's it. To all the listeners, we hope you enjoyed this conversation, and we will see you next time.